Looks like this is working. Alright, welcome back. Playing some Darktide today. Figured I'd play something kind of actiony after playing all of Apollo Justice, by which I mean the first game. Next game goes like next year or whatever. Um, but yeah, I'm just testing out a bunch of different Skitarii builds. Now that I've actually got them leveled fully, and could get like fully maxed out weapons of whatever type it is that I'm using, I can sort of freely test out what I actually think is good or bad. It's hard to tell when you've got like under leveled stuff and you don't have like the correct gear or whatever. But yeah, we're trying out some stuff here. What I want to do today is sort of look into what I can get for a really good build using the auto aim function, which apparently is a little bit bugged, but it seems to work well for me. I think what's actually happening is that people aren't getting like all headshots like they think they're supposed to, because it doesn't actually eliminate bullet deviation, and it doesn't completely get rid of scatter or recoil. It gets big bonuses to getting rid of those effects, but it doesn't get rid of them. So you end up with a situation where not all your shots are going to be instant headshots from all ranges immediately, and it also does seem to take a little bit of time for the gun to snap into proper position. So typically speaking, I think it's actually better if you're willing to get a few body shots, get a lot of headshots. You still get a lot of headshots with the build. I don't. I think people are expecting to get like instant all headshots for the whole duration of it, but it lasts for a really long time. If it was actually doing that, I think that would be a little bit broken. So this is the build that I've been using here. We got all that going on. This is the build that I'm testing out right now. We could try switching out to something like maybe one of the other sets here, but I do think that you really, really want redline capacitors for this build. And I think that you absolutely want to get as much capacitance as possible. I think what I'm going to do, though, is I may switch out the melee, but this is really, really good. The arc maul might be better for this, but we'll stick with the paratransonic blades for right now. The Mechanicus Power Sword is also theoretically a good option if we're going for this particular type of gun, but what we're looking for is something that can crack heavier units, because we have nothing else in the build that can really do that. I did try this with the arc grenades, but the arc grenades are a little bit tricky to use. They would be good into the situations where this build struggles, but this works, I think, pretty fine. We don't have the Purgator Servo Skull, which also would help cover up some elements where I don't love this build. The problem with this seems to be so far that this is a really narrow build. It only works into a very small number of situations really effectively, which is to say, like, there's a room where you walk in, there's like 19 guys with like regular guns. Normally those guys are on harder difficulties. They're actually quite a pain to deal with. So in those instances, this build really shines, because you just pop the ultimate, sweep the gun across that area, you've gotten rid of all of those gunners, and now you can focus on the melee threats really effectively. You pop a door open, there's like 9 shotgunners sort of halfway down the hallway. You can take those guys out super, super fast, really effectively, and then, you know, deal with everything else at closer sort of range there. You don't have like the best support type abilities here. I think that maybe Salvation Doctrine could be good on this, but we're really sort of squeezed on points because we do want to have as much capacitance upgrades as possible, and it's hard to get more into where we want with this particular build. Are going for gunnery. We're not really bothered here with the rid of ammunition enumeration, which just gives us faster firing rate. That does more damage, but we're already spraying up bullets really, really fast. And then we skipped out in Restoration Protocol because we got a bunch of other things that should be increasing our toughness and keeping us up there if we need it. So hopefully this is all fine. But I'm gonna try. I've been trying this out quite a bit with the braced autogun. I'm gonna actually try this with a different type of gun. And we'll see what that's like. The braced autogun is actually really good. I'm going to try and compare it to the infantry autogun. Let's see what the stats on this one are. We don't have very good stability, but that's fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and upgrade this up here. We're going to do a compare and contrast and see. The lower cycle rates for the guns are actually better, typically speaking, for this build, rather than having the very high fire rates versions, but... Okay, so we're just going to consecrate this up here. And we're just going to go ahead and empower. Alright, so I maxed out stats for this. We're just going to go ahead and refine. I don't think I need the reload update as much for this one. I think what we want here range spot weakness spot damage, so that's going to apply to like everybody. And what I probably want is to give this thing a bonus versus elites or specialists. I'm going to say elites because specialists we... typically specialists we can kill fairly fast. Elites are a little bit harder to kill with this. There's no particular armor type that I want this to really excel as much against, but... And then for blessings, I'm going to go ahead and probably... I don't actually remember what these guys have different. Yeah, we don't want that. We don't want that. Terrifying Barrage actually might be good for this. Repeated hit, we don't want... This could actually be quite good here. I think maybe we take... Yeah, I think we take Punishing Salvo. So salvo timing is actually fairly decent. It's actually much more frequent than you would think. This basically just makes it so that we do like a light trigger pull every few seconds, and we can just get that activating actually quite often. If we're doing that, then Sustained Fire in addition to that would actually be really, really good. But this would be a situation where we don't want to just pull a trigger down. I actually need to stick with Terrifying Barrage for this. Terrifying Barrage is just going to give us a little bit of safety that we don't otherwise have with this build. Because it lets us sort of suppress nearby enemies without having to worry about whatever. The Vrax is like no damage. We don't want to do that one. So I think we actually do stick with the Agrippina. Which is sort of the middle of the road type one there. I'm not sure what the Columnus is for, honestly. Because normally these ones are like the... There's usually like one in the middle that's sort of middle of the road damage. Then you got like the Vrax here, which is I believe a burst fire variant. And then you've got this one. I'm not sure why this is such low damage per second. This must actually technically be the light variant. But I really don't know why it's like the setup is like the way it is. Because this is technically every 3 bullets is like 1 bullet, I think. Or is this the burst fire one? I might actually be thinking of the Vigilus autoguns. I think that I am thinking of the Vigilus autoguns. I don't think this class even has access to those. Alright, well either way, we're trying this one out. We'll try this out again at... Oh, we do have Vigilant autoguns. Yeah, so that'll be another thing to try out later. I think that this is probably not going to be a very good build. We're going to try this on just difficulty 3. I'm going to bring it down. I've been playing on difficulty 4 while testing out some of the weaker builds, but I think this is going to be so weak that we're going to want to try it on even lower difficulty. And I'm happy just going into randoms. I don't really care what sort of mission we're going into. Is this Rolling Steel? Oh shit, okay, well... Rolling Steel is one of those ones that's like really swingy in terms of whether or not it's going to go well or not, but whatever. I think a lot of people are going to try to play this with something like the Galvanic Rifle, but the Galvanic Rifle is a good precision weapon. If you need the auto-aim for the Galvanic Rifle, then you probably just shouldn't use the Galvanic Rifle, but you could sort of use it and compensate for that. I find that like I can get headshots just fine with the Galvanic Rifle without the auto-aim though, so it's not like it really helps. Though some days I'm just like flubbing all my shots anyway, so... Given how this works though, I think that the best way to do this is to have it set to a weapon that's got a very high rate of fire, and not the arc gun. The arc gun is surprisingly actually fairly low rate of fire. It's also, I think, a gun that doesn't want to be used auto-aim because you're trying to hit the same target like in the chest a bunch of times. So that arcs to the maximum number of targets and hits the widest area. Which is what we want to do. We don't want to necessarily burn down and kill a single target in one headshot, because then it doesn't arc. Oh, looks like we got Jurgen added to us. It's actually a good Jurgen outfit. Problem is there's no melta-guns in this game. just get moving here. When we're at these sort of closer ranges, we don't actually need to activate our ability, but it still does work there. So, if we want to, we can still activate it. The Terrifying Barrage is really just as a protection measure when we're sort of close by the enemy here. If we're getting like rushed down by dudes and we don't want to deal with them. It's a pretty healthy high-level suppress, so... You can see how long that effect lasts, because we were up for not that whole time, but for quite a lot of that time. I ran out of charge for that during part of that. You can kind of tell when it's active or not, but it's actually a little bit harder than you think. It is super important for me to have lots of capacitance for this. That's why we got like Redline and full regeneration. In these instances, we don't have to have our ability active. We just fire. can also just switch to your gun very rapidly in the right ability by just tapping the button immediately. Just activating it while it's doing whatever. It also doesn't use charge while you're reloading and gives you a, or it doesn't like, yeah, it doesn't use any of your capacitance while you're reloading, and gives you a big reload speed boost if you've got the right ability set to it. So what I think you should do is you should always make sure you're reloading while the ability is active. Like, the thing about this thing is that it's super easy to, like, have it active when you need it, and it's super easy to deactivate it when you don't need it, because you switch to your melee weapon, whatever. And you can also just, like, tap a shot and then, like, reload to stop the, charges from being consumed. Even if you're in a situation where it's, like, you kind of wish that you would, have it still active, like, you don't want to toggle it on and off. Because it does take a bit of charge to just toggle it. So, if you can just keep it on, it's better. So you can, like, reload and decide if you want to turn it off after you've done the reloads. There's lots of little things you can do with this ability. Like, there's lots of tech with it, surprisingly. I'm just gonna help deal with these hordes, stop them from getting in so that the team can deal with the boss. Looks like they're doing okay. Whoever's got Cord Claws should be the one... Yeah, someone's got Cord Claws. Should be the one dealing with that. Just gonna drop this here. Shit. I got knocked off there by his shield's breaking. I've also got it set up so that I should replenish 20 toughness every time I toggle this on and off, which is tremendous value. Service Skull on the top left. That one's the, like, basic Service Skull. Yeah, I was concentrating on the fight. Yeah, so I'm playing as the Skitarii, which is, like, the sort of, like, Adeptus Mechanicus, like, shooter class or whatever. And you get a free Service Skull, which just sort of loiters around you and then shoots at stuff. It's actually just a little gun that floats around beside you, and you can activate it if you want to. But it's not very strong. I've got the Artificer one, which is stronger, but it's still pretty weak. But there's a few support things that you can do with it that are really good. You can use it to resurrect your allies, or you can use it to do auto-hack. So you can skip the mini-game. And you can get some variants of it, like the Resurrection one's a variant. You can also get one with the Flamethrower. I just have the basic one, I don't have the Flamethrower one. Alright, so I think that this variant of the gun is a little bit easier to use. And the reason that this is a bit easier to use than the other braced auto gun is that the braced auto gun has that longer reload, so it's a little bit tougher to use. I am going to try this with the Vigilant, and now let's just try this with a gun I've already got. So I haven't really actually tried this build out with the Galvanic very much here. The thing is, I don't think that this is a good combo with it, but... And I feel like the lack of certain effects with this does impact this a little bit more than some of the other weapons, but... one of the problems with the Galvanic Rifle is it does actually have a fairly slow reload. I think it's a better gun, though, overall, so I'm going to go with Damnation. Yeah, it's the sort of technical aspect. It's a replacement for a grenade as well. Like, if I was playing this with a normal class, like, this would be your grenade slot normally. It's also your default, so if you do nothing, you get a servo skull. But you can replace it and lose the skulls and get, like, an arc grenade, or you can get an integrated fraction emitter. Those all take grenade slots. It doesn't work like a grenade in that it's always doing a little tiny bit of damage to enemies around you. And you can use your grenade slots to make it do more damage for a little bit. That's what it does. It's really, really weak as a grenade. But the nice thing about the Artificer Servo Skull is that you can, if you actually invest points into it, you can make it so that if you double tap an enemy, just by selecting them, it'll actually do a sudden burst of damage against them. That's pretty okay. And that doesn't take a grenade, so it's actually really, really good for saving that. That way I can save all of my grenades for the resurrection, because it consumes a slot if I want to resurrect someone with a medical skull. Yeah, they're kind of optional. I don't actually like them with all my builds, but they are probably the strongest because you're guaranteed to get use out of it. Whereas with the others, you're not really guaranteed to be able to use them as much. It also helps fill in some gaps in certain builds where being able to take out a special by just double tapping it with the target select can let you sort of deal with it pretty effectively, but it's definitely not as good as just shooting it. Right. Yeah, so this definitely has more immediate impact. But it's still good even if I just shoot the damn thing, so... Like, I wouldn't be too bad at just doing that manually. But it's definitely faster than, like, what I can do in real, like, with my own ability. Yeah, this kind of moment here where there's, like, tons of shooters, like, way down this damn hallway here. Like, this thing feels really good in that sort of situation. Being able to figure out, though, where they are is another matter. Now, this is on a higher difficulty than the last time. This is actually on Damnation, so... Okay. Ow. Damn it. Yeah, I'm a bit fragile, so if I do get shot by those Reapers or whatever, it does take me down, like, real fast. Uh-oh. Damn it. Okay. Can't tell where those shots are coming from. Oops, shit. I was gonna go for that scripture. It was understood that the demand for tech priest class is more demand for support like technology. We're not a tech priest, we're Skitarii. So the tech priests are like the actual like leaders of the faction, sort of. Like they're the ones that actually do the actual technical part. We're just a sort of like grunt gunner, basically. Like we're a different class within the same army. So, like, there is a fundamental difference between, like, the actual technical side of the Adeptus Mechanicus and, like, what we do. We're just guys with guns within the context of the army. Like, real AdMech are somewhat different from us. I hear boss music. Now, the reason that we do have, like, a skull is because we're something called an Alpha Primus, which is, like, an elite leader type. Normally, the Adeptus Mechanicus don't actually give Skitarii any, like, tech abilities or anything like that. But we're, like, a special super one, sort of. But we still have very limited tech abilities compared to, like, real tech priests. Like, a real tech priest would be able to do all sorts of really crazy technical stuff that we can't, but they're also like a space marine. I did hear boss music. Yeah, so that was me using, I used my Medicaid skull to get that guy back up, because he was in an impossible place for me to recover. Oh, what the community was suggesting? Oh, there's no way we'd be allowed to play a Tech Priest. Like, a Tech Priest is basically like a Space Marine. Like, Belisarius Call is probably actually capable of, like, kicking the ass of any Chapter Master in the game. Like, and a standard, like, Archmagos, like, Hadron is, like, worth, like, 10 of us. Like, they're really actually quite strong. That's why you've got, like, the, if you play Mechanicus, there's, like, the squad of, like, 4 Tech Priests, which is crazy. You would normally never have that many go on a single mission. But they're going through and fighting, like, an entire, like, tomb world. Like, and, you know, they're way, way stronger than what we have. Yeah, there's no way they would... Like, this game is about... well, if you go through the classes, you've got the Zealot, which is basically, like, a guy who stands in the corner with a sign that says the end is nigh. You've got a Veteran. You've got the Psyker, which is actually pretty strong. You've got, like, the Ogren, which is pretty strong. But, like, in a physical hand-to-hand fight, like, Ogren, Tech Priest any day of the week. Oh, there he was. The thing, though, was, like, a regular Skitarii, like a non-Alpha Primus. Like, even the Alpha Primus is basically just made up for this, semi-made up for this. Is, like, a regular Admech Skitarii is actually really weak. Ow, damn it. I think it kind of depends on the Tech Priest. They definitely used to be strong before the full Admech faction. They kind of were supposed to be. Like, they've got access to a whole bunch of body modifications and tech and weapons, that stuff that makes them, like, way stronger than you would expect them to be. But yeah, I don't think, like, realistically, the people saying that they want to be able to play as a Tech Priest were the same people that, like, are saying they want to play as a Space Marine, in my view. I don't really respect that all that much.
I can only imagine you attempted random inputs until it worked, but it is now working.
Okay, I kind of have to try and get to the Medicaid station and see if there's a charge left. Oh, shit. There is. I think what a lot of people sort of would say that you could do is play, like, a Tech Priest Acolyte, which would be still kind of weird, but would be a little bit more viable. I don't know what you would do as one, though. It's on the wrong mode. This is giving me good recharge, though, so... okay with that. Alright. But yeah, for these kinds of missions, it makes a lot more sense that they send some kind of, like, Skitarii. They just had to buff them up a little bit to make them sort of fit with the rest of the team. Is it different enough to play? I sort of missed that. Yes, I do think they are different enough, and I think they are a lot of fun to play. The one thing about them is, like, I think that they're actually generalists in a game that everyone else is, like, a specialist. The Skitarii kind of doesn't do anything, like, super, super good. They're not as good at shooting, like, even if you go for a full shooter build, as, like, a really good veteran sharpshooter. They're not as good in melee, like, as any of the dedicated melee builds. And they don't have, like, the crowd control capabilities that, like, you can get with the Psyker or with the Hive Scum. But they're sort of really good all-rounders, and their sort of abilities do actually feel really good to play. So I think that they're definitely good, but I don't think that they're like super well positioned. I think that you would play them if you look at their abilities and think they're fun to play, rather than like how viable you want to think of them as. I have technically used a couple of my grenades, so it wouldn't be that bad for me to take them. Can't, adepts... Yeah, they can do a lot of the stuff that, like, the regular tech priests can, like, if they get equipped that way, but, like... Why would they send an acolyte to do this sort of stuff here? It wouldn't make a ton of sense. So I do think that maybe you could get something definitely more unique out of, like, the other ones, but I think that you'd risk, like, pulling too far away from what the core experience of what Darktide's really supposed to be. Like, I know some of the people who wanted, like, a real tech class wanted there to be, like, somebody who places down structures or what have you, like a TF2 engineer sort of thing. I don't think that works in this kind of game. I don't even really like the servo skull that much, because I don't think that the game really is good if it has, like, auto-firing stuff that just sort of plays the game for you. I think ideally you want to, like, make as much of the class's power come from, like, actually doing your own thing. How are those not hitting? You know, one of the things that's sort of happened, though, like, I will kind of say this, the way that they've sort of done the skill trees in the remakes is that they have given people, like, a lot more flexibility in how they play everything, which has diluted the class identities of everything. Because when they first made this game, like, if you want to play a veteran melee, you couldn't. So nowadays, like, everybody's a little bit more of a generalist than it used to be, but... Which I do think is kind of a bad thing. I do like it when the game had really strong identities for each of the classes, but... I can kind of see why they sort of skew towards giving players the ability to express their sort of own playstyle. It does make things a little bit more interesting. It does really make it hard to give a unique identity, though, at this point, to Tech Priest. Or Skitarii, rather. I do think they could have, if they had kept everybody at a situation where they were just doing, like, one role, they could have definitely made Skitarii the support style class. If they were going to do that, then definitely the... they could have definitely gone for a more tech acolyte type of thing. In which case, like, they could have gone full support and they just had a bunch of servo skills to do like different support type things as a core sort of element. I think that would have made a ton of sense, but I wrote on someone else there. But because they had to make it so that you could fill like multiple roles as well, like you can play this as like any of the basic Skitarii type roles, like you got the Ranger, the Vanguard, or the Sicarian Ruststalker, and then a sort of more command leadership type role as well. They definitely wanted to go more with the Skitarii, I think, if you're going to do it that way, over in Tech Priest Adept. Because the Tech Priest would be like support, 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 and then maybe a combat one. Yeah, Sicarian Ruststalker build is actually super fun to play, though, as well. Yeah, that's that mark ability that lets you fire with the servo skull a little bit faster. I should show you the flamethrower still staff, but I don't actually know how to use it properly.
How much this world has changed.
And I assume it is not for the better.
No, I recollect a bright world of gleaming spires, not this. Perhaps it was a cognition hallucination.
I only have one grenade left. That's actually really bad.
That world all the same.
Pneumatic conveyor looks functional. Just as well. You don't want to slip those samples back on foot.
Beware! Your grind.
I've been using my grenades as like ways of resurrecting teammates when they get downed,
Get to work. Open the storage filters while we don't samples.
which is what you actually want to use it for, but I didn't realize I'd used so many already.
Critical item acquired.
Stow it in the pneumatic conveyor. Hurry.
Just had to fire until I heard the click from that guy getting headshot. Where's that dog going? A lot of people are complaining about the new shield guys being like way too tough. If you actually can dance around them and get on their backs, like you're playing Hive Scum and you've got the backstab damage, you can kill them super fast, but people don't like that playstyle. Like, people want to be able to just do spam heavy attacks from the front without having to dance around the backs of things. What the heck?
To battle, Tech Warrior.
Is this camaraderie?
Just gonna drop this here.
Ready back to deploy.
I don't know, it would be kind of interesting for this game to have someone who did actually just have multiple branching different types of support paths. I feel like most people wouldn't want to play them, though. Like, this is a game where you're expected to have to do, like, combat. That's kind of like what it is. Do I have a Rager behind me?
Sound engaging. What's out is now dead.
You got what you need.
Yeah, they are estimating that there should be some more classes like added to this game, but the thing that sort of gets like left in the bin when people sort of ask what they want is quite often like what would make sense power-wise for what's already in the game sort of thing. A lot of people leave that on the floor. Like, even Psyker is kind of, like, out there, but there's a definite reason for them to be in there. They're also, like, top-tier class. What are they doing? Okay, I don't love this build here. Galvanic Rifle is strong, but, like, I prefer more deliberate fire with it, rather than sort of, like, taking it and spamming into a crowd, because I kept running out of ammo, or running low on ammo in a way that I don't normally with this gun. Okay, let's try this with, Plasma. I don't think that Plasma makes a ton of sense with this build, because, like, it's a very slow-firing type of weapon, and you've got, like, all sorts of considerations and problems with it. Actually, I'm gonna skip Plasma, because there's gotta be too many anti-synergies with that. I don't think that that would make a ton of sense. I'm gonna try with the Revolver again. I did that and it felt really good. But it's terrible. It's also really weak. I almost feel like if I do go the route that I'm thinking of here, I have to make a new build for this. Because, like, Advanced Combat Doctrines, you use that and you, like, fire with your gun, whatever. I almost feel like the Revolver Advanced Combat Doctrine is actually a melee build. And then I just press F and then, like, tap fire, like, a couple of really important enemies. And then that's it. It basically, like, I don't even focus everything into guns. Like, I don't take the... Well, I have to take some of this, but I don't, like, take Ammunition Depot, for example. I take a whole bunch of, like, combat abilities down here or over here. Might make more sense. But... I'm not too sure. I definitely wouldn't need Redline Capacitor with that. I'll just try this with the Revolver as it is. I've already got one that's pretty good here. Reload speed is screwed. I should be fine, though. This is the hipfire version of this. I'm not sure I prefer this. How strong? Every class should be kind of all over the place when you consider you have Ogre on the same level as a random Zealot. Yeah, the Ogre is kind of the odd one out as far as, like, ability, though. But it kind of makes sense in the context of, like, your squad, like, having access to a really quite good guns. In the sense that the Ogre is still stuck with pretty weak guns compared to everybody else in the squad. So I think that kind of helps, like, tone that to the right sort of level there. When you're comparing people whose, like, main weapons are supposed to be as good as plasma rifles. But... And especially, like, compared to the Psyker's obviously got the best ranged attacks there, but... Alright, this one I feel like is bad enough that I'm gonna drop it back down to Heresy difficulty. But yeah, the only one that's really tabletop, like, inappropriate for this would be the Ogren. Everyone else is actually pretty close. Like, you take a Guards Veteran Sergeant, with, like, exotic weapons or whatever, and you end up with someone that's pretty okay. You get, like, a, whatever a Zealot's supposed to be. I feel like it's an Adeptus Sororitas to be a good baseline, except without the equipment. Like, you take away all their armor and stuff like that, but... And then you take, like, a random Psyker. That'd be actually a fairly weak Psyker. And then, like, the Ogre is just, yeah, the odd one out that's way too strong. Especially because they seem to be boneheads. And then an Arbiter is like actually pretty weak compared to a lot of those, so they would actually be kind of bottom tier. They'd be like probably better than the Zealot, unless it's actually an Adeptus Sororitas is the baseline, but only because Miracle Dice are bullshit. They're not really. Like, if you didn't have Miracle Dice as Adeptus Sororitas, you'd be like completely screwed. Am I not getting headshots with those? No, I don't think so, because, like, they've changed what the Imperial Guard Psyker actually is to be, like, something called a Primaris Psyker. It's not actually, like, Primaris Marine. I have no idea why they changed the name to that. But, yeah, the current Psykers are supposed to be, like, actually, like, a little bit stronger than the normal Imperial Guard, well, the, historic Imperial Guard Sniper. Ah, shit. I shot the Demon Host. Okay, they should be able to down it while I'm doing this. Yep. I don't know why they call them Primaris Psykers in the current rulebook. It makes no sense to me at all.
You would make a good Skitarius. Nah, I need my hatred, my rage. These will be retained. This pleases the machine god.
Oh god. That's actually a really good... That's a really funny voice line. Alright, that worked out okay. Yeah, I kind of think that the majority of Psykers that you play as in this game are supposed to be unsanctioned Psykers, which are usually pretty weak. Okay, that felt really good, actually. Oops, shit. Copyright thing? Yeah, they should have chose a different name, though, than, like, Primaris, because they made that kind of a thing, like, specifically. Right? Like, Primaris should be strictly a marine thing. They shouldn't have made it like a mixed thing that it could be like other things as well. In my opinion, anyway. It makes it confusing. It's like, oh yeah, this is my Primaris Psyker. This is, like, Tom, he's the guy. Ow, what the hell? I don't feel like that should have got me. Where are these coming from? Well, this is gonna be tricky. I think I got him. Apparently I didn't. Alright, whatever.
You are a slave to unrealistic attainment.
This one's projections are
Perhaps, but they fail to account for precursor imperfections.
Compared with Primaris Marines? Yeah, yeah. If they didn't call them Primaris Marines, I think it would have been fine.
We are tasked with holy duty. It is a privilege beyond description.
I already kind of don't like Primaris Marines, just because, like, it's kind of cynical corporate bullshit, but,
Comprehension
like, whatever. At the end of the day, it's fine. Alright. What the heck? I hear a shotgunner. Okay, well. Can we get to them? Yep. Someone else did. Okay. I get the feeling that the auto aim might be getting blocked by the toxic gas.
Data stream viable.
Oh shit.
You may not self-sanction.
Process failure. Reapply. This time pay more attention.
I do wish that instead of the big change I would like to see for this class is instead of the like standard flamer for the Purgator's Skull Servitor, like it'd be really good if they gave them instead of that the blue flames.
You have somehow succeeded in solving the issue.
Ow. I do actually really like the element of Darktide that it does show like a lot of units that normally don't get the highlight in Warhammer 40,000. I think that's really cool. I do wish they made a Xenos version of this. Like, just literally any Xenos version would be great. Like, playing as Orcs would be really fun. Playing as Tau, playing as Eldar would be hard to do, but... Like, I can kind of see why they don't bother trying to make, like, an Eldar version of a first-person shooter. Because getting that right would be, like, literally impossible.
Back online. You are not a complete failure. Well done, I suppose.
But can you imagine, like, a Horde game where you played as an Orc? I think that would be amazing.
Interrogation approaching completion.
Bunch more Xenos faction stuff. Well, can you imagine, like, the customization you could do in a Horde game like this where you're playing as a Mega Knob? And, like, how crazy you could get with that? Like, that would be a really cool version of this. And I don't even really like Orcs. You could even just call it that. You could call it Mega Knob. And that would just innately be a funny kind of name for a game to have.
New priority target. Shotgun. Generous is the machine called. Perfection is
I think I move around too much for this ability, because I do think that the movement that I'm doing, combined with the movement of the gun and the movement of the enemies, is actually making it so that these miss. Chaos 2 in many ways. Chaos would be kind of just Space Marines again, though, with a different flavor. I don't really respect that too much. It would be kind of interesting, because you could have all the blessings and stuff like that, but, like, it is just Space Marines at the end of the day.
The deficient one's ID.
Charge. Less terms of gameplay, more in terms of lore. Yeah, like lore you could do literally any new faction and it would like do well for that. Like they could add a lot of different things because all they really have for this is generic space or Imperial Guard, or they've got Krieg, and that's like all they've got there. Or sorry, Cadia, not Krieg. But they could add like Krieg. They could add like a lot of good stuff as far as even just like new space Imperial Guard regiments or whatever. They want to expand on the lore. I'm not as huge of a like lore buff though. Like I know a lot of Warhammer lore, but the lore's not what's interesting to me so much as like the actual stuff, like the storytelling with it or the gameplay. Who did that? Alright, well, that wasn't so bad. Oh shit. Alright, well that went okay. I don't know, like a Tau version of this would also be good, just because like how overpowered they can make the guns feel. It'd be a more traditional Left 4 Dead formula in some ways, because the melee would be trash. I have 19 bullets left. It'd be kind of neat if they made an Eldar version of this that actually, if they made it like super hot, that would be actually really funny. I don't think that they could actually do that, but the only way that you can make a lore accurate Eldari version of this is if it was like super hot, which would be really funny to me. Yeah, I don't have any idea why people correct those guys' shields as a default. Man, we have had so many bosses. Oh, shit. Alright, my conclusion right now seems to be like what I kind of thought was going to be. Like, I don't really like the auto-aim that much. It's a lot of fun, but like, I feel like it's kind of... I don't know, it's okay and it's fun to play with, but the other abilities definitely give you a lot more to go with. Since you should be able to do most of the important work of what this is doing by yourself. That might just be me, though, as like a veteran main, because I am actually a veteran main. I mostly play that. And if you're playing veteran, you need to be able to like pick out and take out like all the enemy specialists, like just on command, basically. Revolver is also pretty interesting for this. I don't have as many like problems with reloading as I thought I was going to. Then again, that's because I'm using the hipfire. If I was using the other one, I might never actually have any access to like shots here. Why did he drop that here? Alright, whatever. Alright, so I was just sort of spamming shots so I could pick that up and have it mean something. But I don't think that the revolver is great into hordes. For the obvious reason of it's not, but you know. Someone get that in? Yep, they did. God damn it. Alright. Right, that's 2 out of 3. The last one's got to be on the last floor here. Almost certainly. This is only difficulty 3, and we're not doing like a super easy job here. I do like the ability that the servo skill gives me of being able to like do a target designation and then just hold down the block key to kill like a couple ragers. Like there's not very many other ways that are safe to kill ragers in this game, but it is making me lazy. I'm right by the stairs in this case. Take him. Okay, that area is green as hell. What the heck? Oh, god damn it. Alright, we can just leave now. Alright. So the infantry autoguns are definitely more versatile. They're also probably more powerful than the revolver is. This is the hipfire revolver. I don't think that the single shot would be better. The galvanic rifle's pretty good, but it feels weird to use for that purpose. And the fact that the shots aren't always like tracking on target means that the volume fire is way better. I'm not sure I think that this is the best sort of gun for this. I definitely think that other ones would be better. Force confirmed? Nah, Nurgle's also green, unfortunately. They're saying that there's supposed to eventually be a secondary enemy pack for this, and it's going to be Tyranids, or Gene Stealers more likely, actually. It's going to be Gene Stealer cults. But I don't actually know if they are planning on actually doing that, or if that's just a theory or whatever. But I did hear that they were planning on having a second faction eventually. Alright, let's try another gun here. I don't really like the heavy last pistol that much in general. That's the only last type gun that you can get with this class, though, which is weird. What's the damage on this thing? Damage per shot is 122. That's not great. Amount of ammo is pretty high. I don't know. I'll try the arc rifle. I think that my instinct is that this is not a good combination, but the arc rifle is so strong already that like you kind of can probably actually use this anyhow. But I'm gonna go in difficulty 4 for this. I feel because it's so strong, it's capable of this, but even with my lackluster gameplay. Yeah, if this game did have orcs, that would actually be kind of rough for the squad, I feel like. Like, toughness 5 is like, means we just wouldn't be dealing any damage to anything. It's just, even the lowliest mobs of everything has like, Ogren level toughness. They don't have as many wounds, I guess, but still. I'm not sure how they translate those values, though, really. Alright, this area is actually kind of awkward, but I think that the auto-aim actually works pretty well here. The only problem is I'm going to, like, immediately explode in a few places. This is going to be a little bit like a problem where I'm glass cannon. There is definitely ways to play this class as, like, Vanguard tough. I don't know if they're any good, though. I need to try to make a toughness build with this. I don't think I'm actually getting headshots with this. I wonder what music Commander Drago actually plays when he's going around with that. Ow, what the hell? I don't even know what I got hit by there. Oh, it's probably this guy. Yeah, I think we're all just dead instantly. Yeah, we got down super fast on that one. Skeleton's up because he's playing a Zealot and he had, like, the invulnerability, but yeah. I'm not even 100% sure what took me out with some of the hits there that I took there. Yeah, people were hoping that you could get a raise with the bots, but I don't think that, I need to check something in this Icanium. I don't think that the auto-aim was actually working with this gun. I think it actually doesn't do anything. I had heard that there's, like, a glitch with this ability, and that might be it. I didn't actually check. I just heard that it had a bug, but it seemed to be working fine for me, so I didn't really check. It may be that this doesn't try to go for auto headshots, because, like, one of the reasons I said it had anti-synergy is because the headshots would actually be bad with it. Maybe the devs realized that and they made it not auto-aim or something, but I don't know how that would be a good thing then, because it doesn't do anything in that situation. Let's see what's going up with this. I know there's another bug with it, but the other bug doesn't bother me, because the other one is, this thing, it can sometimes drag all your capacitance down to 0, and it works in a weird way, but... Alright, let's, turn this on and face these guys. No, it's working. Am I getting headshots, though? We're getting some headshots. The grouping I need to get is way tighter than I would remember this for other guns, but maybe that's about right. No, we're getting a lot of body shots. Oh, I'm out of, need to just... Is there a way to actually... Is there a focus stim here? Or actually this. I think that recharges it. Nope. Ah, there's focus stim. Okay. While we're doing that, I'll reload. Okay, some of those are criticals, actually. Those are not headshots. Yeah, I don't think that this is actually headshotting automatically like it's supposed to be. Okay, I'm gonna swap guns here and double check, because the other ones do seem to be getting more headshots. Do the galvanic rifle here. Let's also run around and... One of the big reasons that that's really bad, if that's the case with that particular weapon, is that the way that my pattern is set up is that elite headshot kills actually give me back more meter than they take up. So if I'm firing into a horde of like really good elites or whatever, and I'm getting lots of headshots with the auto fire, my setup makes it so that I'm actually gaining back all of that capacitance. So that combination is actually super, super strong. For keeping up charges and making it so that I can keep firing like that. So it doesn't matter how many elites you send after me, like how many gunners. I can kind of just kill all of them super, super easily. But if it's forced to be turned off because I can't get those headshots, then that actually really, really hurts the build. These are all headshots. And as you can see, like, because we're getting all these headshot kills against elites, we're keeping our charges up, like, way faster. So the actual, like, arc gun really, really doesn't work with this particular build. Like, it's super, super bad for this build. Just because of that bug. So that's interesting. So, like, maybe it's deliberate, but maybe it's not. I can't really tell for sure. I think what it might have to do with is I think that the arc rifle shoots a projectile. I don't actually know if it's hit scan. I don't know that for sure, but it seems to actually have a travel speed. It seems to be really fast, but it seems like it has a travel speed. So that might be deliberate, might be a bug. I'm not really sure which. But if I had to say which weapon is definitely a non-pick for that particular perk, or for that particular talent tree, it is absolutely the arc rifle. That's kind of surprising. I'm going to check, actually. Let's try the plasma gun. I'm just going to take this and I'm going to go back into Psychanium. Because it also has kind of a projectile speed. And it has a really janky hitbox as well. So there's a very high chance that this also doesn't work. But maybe it does. I don't know. We'll find out. Should have just stayed in the meat grinder. It would have actually been easier to... Would have been no load times or whatever, but whatever. Okay. Ooh, I should actually test another thing here. Okay, so... Ooh, okay. So one of the things that was important was I was wondering if you still drew capacitance while you were doing the vent. Apparently you don't actually use your capacitance while you're venting, so that's actually good. But this also doesn't headshot. Like, I'm sort of, like, near the target, which is when it should be locking on or whatever. It doesn't automatically headshot. So, this is another gun that doesn't work with this perk, which is interesting. Is there anything else that I could check here to see if it's functioning? Everything else should function, at the very least. I think it's just those. We'll try lasers. We haven't tried lasers. Everything else is projectiles. Just go get some more charges while we're at it. This pistol might not do very much damage. It's got like no upgrades or anything like that, but whatever. I don't think I'm getting headshots with this either. Maybe. I don't think this is getting me auto headshots either. Maybe it's only bullets. Yeah, the head hit-shot rate for this gun is actually really bad with that. I think I'm actually faster if I just keep taking these things over and over again. That doesn't actually get you that much capacitance charge. Interesting. I think I'm seeing what actually is going on here. No, maybe not actually. I think this auto headshots if you're aiming a little bit above their head. I'm wondering if it's set or calibrated differently for different weapon types. Because the galvanic rifle's actually got high enough like armor penetration capability that if I'm aiming for like a crusher's head, it wants to go for the head. Regardless. But if I'm using this thing, if I'm shooting people in the head... Because I noticed that there's a little difference in how the toggle works. Let me just get real close here. So we can get the head hitbox. We have to actually be kind of near the head hitbox. But we can also get a torso shot deliberately. The only thing is, I don't know when or why you would want the torso shots. You almost always want headshots. Okay. Let me double check to see if that also was happening with the Galvanic rifle, because I don't remember that happening with the Galvanic. But it could have just been that I was always putting it near people's heads, which I don't think I was. I wonder why that wasn't auto-targeting onto the body, though, for that other one as well. Maybe because it's... I don't know why it wasn't. Yeah, that's weird. Okay, so that actually does let you target bodies. Not for that one. I don't know. I think it's interesting that it does that, because I feel like you would basically always want to get headshots with this ability. I can see that there are, like, some enemy types where you want to get deliberate body shots. Like, against this guy and against this guy, you technically want to get body shots to kill them a little bit faster. But I think that if you just programmed it to always went for, like, headshots regardless, that would actually still be better. Interesting. Well, in any event, though, I think we got enough time for, like, one more round here. And I'm definitely not going to try out the pistol, because it definitely wasn't really working very well with that particular mix. I'm going to actually switch off of, I think... no, I'll try one more with this, but we'll... I'm not really sure which weapon to use for it. What do I want to try? I'm going to try the other pistol variant. I'm curious as to how this would work. I probably want something other than run and gun, but the normal thing that I would take is a little bit tricky with this particular type of build, because I have to be aimed down sights.
Your weaponry is a gift from the Omniscient.
I don't know if I actually changed the blessings on this thing at all, actually. I don't really want that. Yeah, so this is what you would normally take, because it gives you that, like, extra 100% after 3 seconds, so that you are guaranteed criticals. I don't know if that's what we take here. I think we still do.
The work is complete.
I kind of want to take hand cannon. Just make it so that this is like a sniper rifle type thing. Now this I think is going to be really bad as a combination as well, so I'm going to stick this one to difficulty 3 as well. Well, that last one ended up being real bad, but that's because it's buggy. Different guns definitely seem to find headshots easier or more difficultly than other types of guns. I'm not sure what it is about it.
Make no mistake, this is the heart of enemy territory. Every man's hand.
I definitely think that this gun is going to wind up being pretty bad, though. I don't think that this is a good combo.
We can't cut the stims.
We won't know until we try, though.
We can learn from their operation. So get in, have a poke around, and grab me some juicy intel.
I should be switching out my melee for some of these tests as well.
Our progress is unacceptable. You are a slave to unrealistic attainment. This one's projections are infallible. Perhaps, but they fail to account for precursor imperfections.
Alright, so I have blown through a lot of ammunition already.
Excellent, Alpha Primate. Seriously, excellent.
Not using my ability particularly well here. They don't have the Mechanicus axe. Yeah, the axe is something I really wish they did have. Like, it's a really cool weapon. I don't know. This feels like it's actually a little bit better than I was giving it credit for. Yeah, I really do wish they had the, like, gigantic cog axe. That thing's so cool. You never really give Skitarii that, though. That's only, like, Tech Priests that have that, but we're an Alpha Primus, so we should have, like, a little bit of a leeway on that. Which, admittedly, I don't actually know much about, because they were only in, like, one edition that I wasn't playing for, so... They're kind of, like, almost non-canon, because I think haven't been in the game for, like, 4 editions or something like that. Omniscient Axe? No, I never sort of mentioned it. I was talking about the Maul, or I might have misnamed it, but yeah, the Arc Maul is in the game. It's really, really good. Is that Rodan? Oh, it is. Oh, he's already dead. With this one, I definitely want to get rid of the skull. Like, the skull's really good, but overlaps way too much with the revolver using for this, because, like, I only pull it out to deal with, like, specials, basically. Well,
There is truth in your words. With our allies, they remain. Temporary
where's the enemy sniper?
I am incapable of doing otherwise.
Alright.
This song is stronger this way.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the Hive Scum. The Hive Scum's actually supposed to have a lot of really interesting weapons that never made the game, because they have, like, the ability to pick up those, like, ancient relics and stuff like that. I don't actually know why I need auto-aim with this gun. I didn't just do it myself. But I feel like they're trying to like maintain a specific sort of class feel, so the one with the really heavy weapons is the Zealot. Since they're kind of the melee-focused class, they're the one with like the big power weapons and stuff like that, so I think they thought that would step on people's toes too much. I don't really agree with that necessarily, though, but I have no idea if that's actually true either.
Could be going better, but it could be going worse.
I'm reading instability in the Fox signal.
Like, the Hive Scum's supposed to have access to a stick with, like, a glaive at the end and a shotgun sticking out of it. It's a really stupid weapon. But, like, they could have added that. It would be really fun. I don't know.
Hang about. There's something funny going on.
This is another reason why they kind of have to have us, like, as Alpha Primus instead of normal Skitarii. Because, like, we'd have this moment, and if we were playing as regular Skitarii, we get our box cut off, we'd actually be rendered non-operational, because we typically can't act independently.
I can't get free.
Alright.
Meditators can disrupt our Fox communication. Exactly ideal. Looks like the team's still breathing. Just about, so it could be worse.
I'm not sure if we do breathe. Do Skitarii breathe?
Victor is to be excited.
Oh, someone else got them? Okay.
Demolition charge, please.
I mean, this class actually doesn't have a heavy weapon. The arc ball is actually a light weapon in this version. It's like the one-handed light arc maul.
Pick up your feet. I want this over with.
Shall escape me.
Okay. Did they die? They died. Same person. Oh well. Should be fine anyway. They have their own breathing air. These ones definitely have to because we're susceptible to tox gas, but okay.
Security measures. Must be on the right path. Doors in the way? What a shame. You know what to do. Get in that day of street.
Get me corking loose. I won't pay back.
Damn it. Alright. you're wondering why I'm doing flailing my arms around like that, I've got my target mark set to block. That way when I use aim down sights, I automatically mark enemies. That way if I miss, you know, someone else can more easily see the enemy that we're trying to get to. It's my preferred way of target marking. That also makes it so that I can designate things for my servo skull to attack with block or aim down sight. That way if I'm trying to block, I can get a target done without negating my defense. Took a big hit there. Man, people are getting downed way more than they should be given what we're doing here. Especially on the difficulty we're on. I guess the fact that I'm not getting knocked down like super frequently, that was kind of at least good. I'm not screwing up at least.
Logic demands that Hadron Omega 77 assume command of this war.
Yeah, right.
I confess that I'm not surprised. Then again, I'm seldom out.
I think my thing bugged out and consumed my charges there.
I hesitate to criticize, but perhaps you could advance just a little further. Don't need to describe me, sir. You might be redundant. I suppose they survived this long.
Oops, shit. Okay. How did I get my grenades back? I didn't pick up any grenades.
For the honest sire. As I will not be there to see it, there is little comfort to be had.
We do not agree, but respect your respect.
Okay.
Shouldn't be long now.
Yeah, the build I'm using with the revolver makes it feel like it's for really compensating for people who are just bad with the weapon. Because I can kind of get the same headshot kills with the revolver when I'm using it, just default without using the ability, just as well as the actual ability does. Because the ability doesn't get them flawlessly either.
Ammunition.
Hello! Get your servo skull out. She'll sniff out the good stuff for you.
Probably should have waited till they weren't on fire.
Solid data hall. Why don't you murder some heretics while I take a look?
Murdering heretics is what we're good at. Slaying my servo skill kill those guys is actually probably one of the faster ways of doing it. I could use the revolver, but it takes like 3 shots just to kill one of them, so it's not very ammo efficient. Right, well... got a couple people in the squad who keep going down, but we're doing fine overall. See, that didn't count as a headshot either, and I really think that one should have. Really should have gotten me a headshot on that one. I think the aim down sights actually makes it harder.
You ain't gonna let a refractor field stop you, are ya?
Yeah. Flubbed a lot there. My reflexes are like conflicting here because I'm not used to having the auto aim for this, so like my instincts are trying to get me to do the opposite of what this thing wants me to do with this particular gun. Because I have a crap ton of experience with this particular gun. Like, this is the gun that I mainly use for veteran sharpshooter. One thing I do think is interesting about this particular build is that, like, the auto-aim definitely feels like a crutch even at the best of times. I feel like it's the sort of thing that is kind of a noob trap, and that, like, a newer player is actually going to get actively worse at the game because they're using it. It's a pretty good ability, though, but, like, you really feel how it's compensating for bad play with this particular weapon. Like, with other weapons, it kind of makes sense, because, like, there's no way I'm getting that many headshots that fast with the braced autogun. But then, like, when I'm stuck with the revolver, where I know that if I'm playing, like, top of the game and I'm not thinking about the auto-aim function, I can get, like, 3 headshots in like 3 seconds, like super easily anyway. So the end result is I'm like kind of getting the same state, but I have to pay a bunch of points into it. And it's a little bit less reliable since it's harder to control whether or not I'm going to get headshot against the right target or not. So I feel like this is definitely not something used with the revolver. This is a purely compensating for your weapon not being able to do that kind of thing. Sort of thing. So it's not great with the precision weapons. I kind of felt the same with the galvanic rifle. But the galvanic rifle's a little bit spammier, so you can kind of get away with it a little bit better. Because it also kicks against the recoil that's pretty bad with the galvanic, and it's still fairly fast firing if you want it to be, so... I think that, yeah, that's probably enough testing of different weapons on that particular perk for now, because it is time for me to end the stream. But, yeah, I think I'll do another build stream on Wednesday. And then I'll be playing this mostly on my own time after that, but I do want to do one more day of streaming Darktide. I do play a lot of Darktide. I do actually really like it. I just don't stream it very often. But yeah, definitely I think that the better weapons for this kind of thing fall in the sort of range of like this kind of thing, like an infantry autogun or the braced autogun. Where's my braced autogun? This thing here. And I think for the marks, you go for the heavier hitting ones. So this one's like 165 damage as compared to like 132 or 119. Because you're paying like attacks per shot, but you are regaining it like on per shot basis though. Let me just double check this here. And then additional 1% per shot. So yeah, you do drain this pretty quickly while you're shooting. But then you also have like weak spot kills getting back 2%. So if your shots are hitting hard enough to get like a kill, you're gaining back actually like 2%. If you kill enough with enough headshots fast enough, you get back more than you're draining if you get enough there. If you're getting critical hits, you get that additional 5% for over 4 seconds. So maximum of like 5% per 4 seconds. Then if you've got like the augment cycle, you've got access to the capacitor reclamation loop. If you're doing all of that, you can get back your capacitance really, really fast there. Yeah. Kind of wondering if I should do some of these here. I don't really feel like it. But yeah, I feel like this build works pretty well with these type of capacitor builds. I felt like there was another way to increase your capacitance recharge, but I think it's just those four. All in all, I think it's pretty good. But I think it's definitely weaker than the other ones, and has some really like messed up things that going on for it. My other talents like are this one here, where I've got phosphor pistol and the dual swords. This one feels way better. Generally speaking, you got the cord claw strike there, and also like it's more consistent. I feel like, but for actual like shooting, I also feel like if you're gonna go for a hard hitting galvanic rifle or something like that, I like this build. Where I've got access to the integrated refraction emitter and access to the voltaic emitter. It covers more bases, it feels like, and I can land the headshots by myself. But it's hard to say, really. I could probably also do with a little bit less flux generation with this. I don't know if I need the augmented power cycle with this particular one here, but in any event, though, yeah, that's everything for today. Hope you found this one